So this is, if it does work, it's a good way to engage students because they don't need to log in at all. It just comes straight up in their the server. They don't have to put their details in. So it's a nice safe site for kids to use. So we've got one vote already. Thank you. Whoever voted, and it's completely anonymous, so I can't see who's written what. And this is what you've been saying. Awesome. So information seems to be coming up nice and big and bright there. Content is nice and big, which means that's what we're using it for. I love word clouds. I'm a bit of a nerd like that. Excellent. Seems to be a bit of a theme going on. Excellent. So it's going to shut off in 13 seconds, 12. I won't count down. My students tell me that's really annoying when the teacher counts down. 2, 1.
No.
Excellent. There we go. So information seems to be the hot topic, and how to deliver lessons and engagement. So WooClap is a really, really good tool if you want to get your students' input. The only thing with it is that it does not collect their information, so you can't actually see who's written what. And I can then put the results in a list format where I can see what everyone's written. And some people have been liking other people's work, so well done. All right, so why record your PowerPoint? Well, we can record them for explicit lessons, for morning routines. I know that's a big thing in primary school, is doing your morning routines with students. Instructions for tasks, this might be a really good way to do it for parents as well, to create a PowerPoint with instructions for them. Retrieval practice for the students. It's really good if you've got secondary students, it's a good way to teach them how to do it, so they can actually send you their work this way as well. And to consolidate any conceptual understanding. So there's lots of different ways that you can do it, but they're the main ones. This is a workshop and not a lecture. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to minimize your Zoom screen so that you can open a web browser on the other side of your screen. Open a PowerPoint, any PowerPoint that you like, and then follow the steps that I'm going to show you. So when you're ready to go, for those of you that know how to use the participants tab, if you could just give me a little thumbs up or a little yes in the participant tab, I'll know that we're ready to go. So I've got some little ticks happening there. Do you all know where the participants tab is? It's right down the bottom. Excellent, I've got some ticks coming. So if you don't know how to minimize your screen, if you click on the Windows key and then the left arrow, it will shoot your Zoom over to there, and then you open up a new screen on the other side and it opens a PowerPoint. So you might have to click on the Windows tab and an arrow on the other side, but it's nice and easy. So we're starting to get some ticks happening. It doesn't matter what PowerPoint it is, it could be any old PowerPoint. It could be a brand new one that you've never used before. So it's really just looking at the toolbars. Excellent, we've got some hand waving happening and some ticks. And we've got a few people using the chat to say that they're ready to go. So lovely, thank you very much. If anyone's having trouble, please put a little message in and Chris will talk you through how to do it. Won't you, Chris? Just a quick question from Daniela. Will the process also work on Google Slides? It doesn't work on Google Slides. If you want to use this process, you'll need to download them as a PowerPoint first to be able to work on it. But you can actually record Google Slides in Screencastify. So I know that there's a session on Screencastify later on. All right, so I'm going to head into this. Let me just shrink that down. So I also found, I've been playing with PowerPoint, I also found that you can actually embed your Lucid chart into it. So we're going to be looking at the ribbons, and I'll show you what they are shortly. We're going to go into the slideshow tab. So I'm just going to close out of this slideshow, and I'm going to open my student one that I've created for this session. So hopefully you can still see my screen. So what you get when you first open your PowerPoint, you have this thing here. That's called a ribbon. And what you'll need to do is go into the slideshow ribbon. So I'll get everyone to click on the slideshow ribbon. Now, if you do miss this, the recording will be up on the website later on, and all these PowerPoints will be up there as well. That's not the right one, is it? What I need is this one. This is the correct one. So going into the slideshow ribbon. So this is a demonstration PowerPoint that I made. So I'm going to quickly record this, and you'll see how quick and easy it is. But I'll just show you all the tools. So when you go into the record, this one here, you need to make sure that play narrations is turned on. So that's that little button there, and the show media controls is on. Now I'm just going to switch this here over here so you can see what it's going to look like. When I click on record slideshow, my screen changes. Now it's telling me that it won't accept my camera because I've got my camera open on my Zoom. So I'll just turn my Zoom camera off, and then I will turn my camera on here. Okay, so your photo or your face will appear down the bottom here. Now that's a really good thing to have when you're working with students, so they can actually see what you're doing. It's a good connection for them. So different things on here. I'm going to show you how to record, stop and pause button. So there's the record, the stop and the replay button. This little button here is for notes, and it shows the teacher notes, but it won't show in the final recording. So it's good to have this here to talk yourself through it, and you just click on the text button to enlarge or shorten. This clear button will clear the recordings on the slides. Okay, so at the end, it will clear them. Because the thing that you need to remember with PowerPoint is the recording sits as a layer on the PowerPoint. It's not a separate recording like a Screencastify or anything like that. It sits on the PowerPoint. The settings button just goes through what microphone or camera that you have attached. So they're nice and easy. The different tools that you have, there's not many. There's the pen one. You can change the color of the pen, and the pen will let you just put things on the screen. You can change the color of that. So it's really important to think about what color your backgrounds are, so that the color works out nicely. So if I use a pen that's close in color, you can't actually see that. There's an eraser tool there if I want to rub them off. So once you've hit record, anything that you do on here, the students will be able to see the pen marks or the highlighter marks. They won't actually see this screen here. The other thing that you have that might be quite useful is the highlighter. I like the highlighter because you can direct students to which line you're up to when you're actually talking to them. I'm going to just take those off. And then I'm going to record a lesson. Is there any questions before I start recording the lesson? Doesn't matter if you have a Mac or a PC version. Yeah, Mac might look a bit different. I have a PC. I'm happy to workshop through a Mac version for you, but because it's a PowerPoint, the general tools should be relatively the same. but we can have a look at that, and I'm happy to email you directly, Kelly, if you want with that one. All right, so all you do is you hit the record button, you get a bit of a countdown. All the transitions that you put into this will come through, so you need to put all your transitions in before you start recording so that they work. So this is my lesson. See how long it takes me. I wonder if someone can time me. Hi kids, welcome. We're doing a great lesson today. It's great to see you, and thanks for putting your homework in the other day. I really appreciate that, and I will get through them today and mark them and give them back to you. So today we're looking at a way to make your writing better, and we're looking at cohesion. So cohesion occurs when there's a connection with ideas. It will make your lesson flow, and we use cohesive devices for that. Let me show you how we do it. So we use conjunctions. They're one of the cohesive devices that are really good and what you need to use for your writing. They are joining words that link different parts of your sentences. So this one's there. They can appear at the beginning of a sentence, at the middle of a sentence, or at the end of a sentence. Here's a couple of examples. Before folding your clothes up, check that they are dry. The before is your conjunction there. It's at the beginning of the sentence. Mum wanted to make an apple pie, but there were no apples. Again, another conjunction, but this one's in the middle of the sentence. And here's a more academic one. Although the dog was small, it was fierce. So you'll notice that there are different conjunctions, and you might not remember all of them yet, but we're going to do a little activity and we're going to work them all out. In a second, I'm going to ask you to stop the video or pause the video. I'm going to get you to open your Google Classroom page and download the cohesion worksheet. So remember to go into the 7B English class and grab it from there. Now remember, while we're doing this, I'll be online. The activity that you're going to do, I just want you to do question 1 for now. That's all I want you to do. And I want you to circle all of the conjunctions in the sentence. Now remember that conjunctions do join clauses in sentences. So they're making a complex or compound sentences. And all you're doing is circling the conjunctions. I will be here in Google Meet from 9 till 11. So if you need to check in with me, please do. And remember to restart the video again at the end of each instruction. All right, stop the video now. Hey, welcome back. How'd you go with that activity? Okay, so a few tricky ones, I'm sure. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at a bit of a more of a breakdown of the different cohesive devices and the conjunctions. So you can use conjunctions to add to a sentence or to sequence, so first, second, third, next. You can illustrate by saying things like such as and for example. You can show cause and effect by saying things like because or therefore or consequently. You can compare by using words like similarly, likewise. You can qualify by saying things like however or although. You can contrast by saying things like wherever, instead of. That's the one I really like, and we can use that for your history assignment, or we can emphasize things. So these things here are really, really important to remember. So here's another example. There were 3 different sauces to put on the hamburgers. For example, tomato, barbecue, or chili. And you'll notice there that I use for example, which is an illustrating up there. All right, so this is your next activity, question 2. So it's really good question. What I want you to do, it's a close activity. I just want you to choose the most appropriate conjunction for each of the blank spaces. And when you're finished, check back in. So stop the video and off you go. All right, so that's the end of my slideshow. To finish, all you do is click on the X, and you'll notice here on my PowerPoint that each of the slides now has a little picture of me on it. Isn't that great? So you've got to make sure that the lighting's great, your hair looks good for the day, and you're wearing the right shirt, otherwise the kids can see all that stuff. Now, to test that it's worked, all you do is you go back. I'm going to just put it on primary monitor now because I've got the 2 monitors so you can see it. And you just play. So I'm going to stop talking for a second and you'll hear the video. All right, so you can see that's nice and simple. And then at the end, all you do is hit File, go to Save As, and you need to change it from PowerPoint to MPEG MP4. And then hit Save. Because I'm on Zoom, you probably didn't hear that video because it's on Zoom, so it maybe doesn't actually work very well on Zoom. Okay, so that's now saving. You can see down the bottom here that it's starting to save. It takes ages, and I mean ages. So the longer your PowerPoint and the more transitions that are in your PowerPoint, the longer it takes to actually save. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how we're going. Just share this one again. Okay, so remembering that the PowerPoint sits in, it keeps swapping on me. Why is it swapping on me? Doesn't like that. Don't you love PowerPoints? No. I must have had that on time. So it sits inside the PowerPoint, and the recording should be designed so the kids can really interact really well with it. So although we normally say don't put animations in and don't, you know, put things with transitions, because we're working with children, I think we really need to have things like that in there. It's really important. Let me just turn my camera back on so you can see me. There I am, so you can see me. So having those animations is really good because kids really need them. And the animations are in here. They're cute. Okay, so we've already gone through that. A couple of other things. I'll just check on the PowerPoint to see how it's going. See, it's a quarter of the way there. It takes ages. It takes a long, long time. A couple of other things that you might want to have a look at. I'm not having much luck here, am I? Here we go. Let's do it from here. The online pictures are really good. So when you're inserting, if you go to online pictures right here, they're all Creative Commons already. So you can put them in because it automatically puts in the attribution. So you might have noticed in some of my slides, it had the image and then had the attribution below. So that's really cool. Screenshot is also another good thing. If you've got something on your screen that you want to put in, rather than having to save it and pop it in, you can use a screenshot, and that's right here. And the shapes and icons ones are really cool as well. I'll just close the slideshow and I'll show you this. This one here, I just did in the Smart Art. So the Smart Art's really cool, and it gives you different ideas of what to put in there, and you can change the color of all those. So that's pretty cool. This little emoji here, I got this in this Comic Characters, and that's an add-on. So when you go into Comic Characters, when I go into here, I can actually choose what icon to put in there. So I can do one that looks a little bit like me, which is what I try to do. If you have a beard, you can choose a different one like that. And where you get them from is you go to Insert. Let me get rid of that. So you go to Insert and you go to Add-ins. So when you click on Add-ins, it gives you all these really cool add-ins. So there's an emoji keyboard. I downloaded that as well. I found WooClap in here. You can use Poll Everywhere. With Poll Everywhere, I think you need to check with your privacy settings to make sure that they are safe for children to use. Lucid Chart, if you have Lucid Chart at your school already, that's a good one to put in. And there's the Pixton Comic Characters. And all you have to do is click Add. So it might be worth having a look through there and clicking on to seeing what's there. We're nearly finished with our video. Here we go. So there's lots of really cool tools in here. that you can use to make your videos really interesting. It's going to take ages for us to show this, so what I will do is I will close this off and I'll just show you one that I made a couple of weeks ago.
Wendy, can you have a look and tell us what the size of the file is that created, please?
Yes, that's a great idea. So this one was the same length of video and it is 172 megabytes. So the longer your PowerPoint, the longer the higher the file size. It will do all the transitions for you. Every time you click to move past a page, it will show that. It'll just do all the clicks automatically for you, and it'll show up all the different. I'm going to open it again because it does take a long time. So you can see there all the transitions are coming automatically. So, and the kids will see the highlighting that you put on there. So that's really cool. The other thing I discovered recently, which was really good, is in Insert, there's this button here called Reuse Slides. So that you don't have to make these same slides all the time, all you have to do is click on Reuse Slides. It will pop open different things at the side. So these are ones that I created earlier, and you can actually open up different slides that you have used. So if I was to open up, let me just open up this one. So if I was to open up this one and I wanted you to use this function, all I do is click on that and it plops the slide in for you. So you don't have to remake the slides all the time. So that's a really cool tool to use. All right, so it's almost there. It's probably going to take another 10 minutes. Are there any questions? While waiting, if you upload your PowerPoint to Google Drive and then it does the video transition, it should stay. So the question is, if you upload your PowerPoint to Google Drive and then open as a Google slide, does the video transition stay there? I don't think it does because it's in PowerPoint, so you would need to then open it as a PowerPoint. But yeah, if you're creating it into an MP4 and you put that into Google Drive, it will stay as an MP4. So depending on what learning management system you're using, if you're using Canvas or Seesaw or Schoolbox or Google Drive or Google Classroom, the MP4 works beautifully for kids and for parents. So some people have been making little instructional videos for their parents and showing them what to do there. So it's probably a nice way to go from that. No, so when kids do watch it, they don't have to click through it because it's a video. If you were to send them the PowerPoint, because you can do that as well, you can send kids the PowerPoint and just say to the kids, just start the PowerPoint, and then they can click through at their own pace. You can do that. There was some question about whether the kids could then steal this and copy and paste it and put it into their assignments. Kids being kids, they'll do interesting things and they probably know more about how to do all this than we do. So it's nearly there. Yeah. So this is a really quick process and you can see that it's only actually taken me half an hour to show you how to do that. If anyone has any other questions, I'm happy to answer them because it's a pretty cool tool. Downloading speed is really slow. Yeah. So remembering that when you're saving it, you go to File, hit Save As, and then change the PowerPoint presentation to an MPEG-4. And that's all going to be in the PowerPoint that I send you or the PowerPoint that will be up online as well. I'm just going back through the questions to see what I missed. Yeah, I've checked the speed of the downloads a couple of times and it's been really slow every time. I think it's actually done. Let's see if it's here. Here it is. Does it work? Here we go. You may not be able to hear it because it's on Zoom, remember? There you go. So it's really easy. If you want to record your slide without putting yourself down in the bottom, I just need to, I think I need to, before I do this, let me just, sorry, change this to this monitor. If you don't want your photo down the bottom here, you have to make sure that this button here is clicked. So if I clear those slides now, everything that I put on them is gone, and you just have to make sure that this is clicked off. So you need to do that before you hit record, because once you hit record, you lose functionality to the microphone and the video. So that's an important thing to remember. All right. I probably think it's important to have it there though, so the kids can actually engage with you. But if it's something that you want to keep for longevity, then maybe, you know, think about whether or not you want that on. Are there any questions? You can pause while you're recording, absolutely. You just hit the pause button. So yeah, so you just hit the stop button and it will let you stop. And remembering that each recording is on that particular slide. So if I did something on this slide and I didn't like it, I can come and I can do it on here as well. I can clear the recording on that, just on that slide, and then re-record the recording on that slide. So you don't have to go through every single slide each time. So if I was to do it on this one, hi kids, how are you? Hope you're all well. Let's have some fun. And I hit stop. The recording is just on this slide, and then I can come here and I can clear it on that one slide and then re-record it on that slide. Nice and easy. And yes, you can listen back to check on each slide individually, but you have to sort of move it through. So you can do that, yes. You can put emojis on there, and the best way to do that, and I found the emoji thing in insert. This is an add-on, so the emoji keyboard. So when you just click on that, you can just put your emojis on the slideshow. There you go. That's a pretty big emoji, so yes, you can. Are there any other questions? It's easy. So in that time, I showed you what to do. We went through why to do it. We looked at the reason for it. We looked at the toolbars. I did a recording as well. We saved it, and now we're asking questions. So there's lots of things that you can do, and really it's just a matter of playing, seeing what you can come up with. So I'm just stopping my sharing there so you can see me again. So still happy to answer any questions. If you do need anything, please don't hesitate to email or pop your name into the survey form that Chris will give you in a second, and I can email you back directly and give you any details. Or I'm happy to Zoom with you and walk through things if you want to. It's really, this is about getting you what you need for the next few weeks, because it's going to be interesting. Okay. So I'm sure Chris will pop up. Thanks, Chris, and unmute yourself.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does.
And I will share.